If you're new here, welcome. And if you're returning, welcome back, civilians, to the home of elevation, growth, and experience. Some of you may know, some of you may not know, I am the civilized woman. Welcome back, civilians. Y'all, I know it has been a minute since I came before y'all with a video. First of all, welcome to the second half of the year. I'm praying and believing nothing but blessings and prosperity for you all this part of the year. I'm going to work to do better this part of the year than I did the first part of the year in terms of putting out more content. But life has been life in this year in so many ways. So here we are. But I'm before y'all today because I'm wanting to talk about Nelly and Ashanti's new reality show on Peacock, We Belong Together. And that was literally the only reason why I got Peacock, which, by the way, I was surprised. It's not that bad. It's like $80 for the whole year. But that was literally the only reason why I purchased Peacock, because I wanted to be able to see it. And so they did 8 episodes. They put all 8 episodes at once. I'm going to be honest, I wish they wouldn't have done that. So then I was kind of torn between, do I just want to do a summary or do I want to go episode by episode? When I went back to rewatch, because I saw 8, and I smiled the entire time. And I obviously don't know these people. I don't think most of us know them, but I smiled the entire time. Their love for each other just seemed, they're just an infectious couple. They play off each other really well. So it was just nice to see that, and very refreshing to see that for a reality TV show on our screens. But again, I went back to rewatch episode 1 and I took some notes. So I'm probably just going to do an episode by episode breakdown, but we'll see how that goes. So anyway, Nelly and Ashanti, this was the first episode. It's called Break Up to Make Up. Nelly and Ashanti, We Belong Together. And like I said, I smiled through the entire thing. You could see their maturation. You could see their growth, their ability to compromise, and really their ability to their commitment to this union that they have created. So, the episode goes through where they do a flashback of, their past, their previous first stint of their relationship, and then what brought them back together, which we all know was the infamous Versus, is what brought them back together. So that was a thing, but looking at these people, it's like they're truly meant to be together. That's just what it looks like on the outside looking in. They really do look like they belong together, and probably subconsciously we're probably waiting for each other. And I don't think in like 99.999% of the cases, spinning the block would not be advisable. But in this case, they seem to be the exception to that rule of not spinning the block. And even in interviews, because I kind of been binge watching interviews on them, they kind of talked about just the good outweighing the bad, which in my opinion is a really great way to look at it, because nobody's going to give you everything. Nobody's going to be perfect. But you got to think of what comes with this person. Is it worth the stuff that I wouldn't necessarily like or would wish was a little different? And if the good outweighs the bad, the positive outweighs the negative, then it's definitely worth it to go to give it a try and to stick it out. But those were just like overall kind of arching thoughts as I was watching the episode. So they open up with them giving us a recap of their relationship, and you can tell it wasn't just them as a couple, but it was like the families had bonded. So when they broke up the first time, it was like, it wasn't just the two of them that broke up. It was like families broke up. So kind of mending not just the two of them, but everybody else who's involved with them too. Probably took some time, but it just seems that everybody was just kind of like bummed that these two people broke up, and are just so happy that they are back together and starting their lives together and being married. And it's so interesting to see how traditional Nelly seems to be, and Ashanti, being a New York girl, kind of understanding that and having to probably tailor some of the way she does things as a New Yorker to really suit the kind of man that she married, which is you have a southern guy and then you have a girl from up north, which there would be differences because I think women, at least in New York, people in New York have a reputation of being very rah-rah and in the way they speak, whereas people down south are a little bit more, have the reputation of being mild-mannered. So those two also having to come together and marry and respecting each other, and I'm sure some of that is what attracted them to each other, but at the same time knowing that if they're not mindful of that it can cause a clash. And it seems like this go around they're very mindful of those things. So they're being considerate of each other. I think one of the big themes, that the two big themes stuck out to me in this episode, that was their living situation, like where are they going to settle. I like the idea that of Nelly understanding, like he's adamant that he does not want to live in New York, but he understands, especially with him traveling and Ashanti being a new mom, that she needs to be in her comfort zone. She needs to be where her support system is. Not that his family would not support her, but all her people are in New York. That's going to give her the most safety and support, especially as he travels. And the mommy guilt that I think all moms have, especially a first time mom, which Ashanti is, and that is leaving your baby. We all know Ashanti stayed beach ready and was always working. And so now for somebody who has always been working, where their career was really their focus, and now she's a new mother and a wife, and now she don't want to leave her baby. And that probably, I got the sense that kind of shocked her, that she was really one of those, like really was kind of like, I don't want to leave my baby. And so trying to balance that out in with opportunities. So those are the two things that really stuck out to me in this episode: the living situation and the mommy guilt that you get. Also, Nelly mentioned, he says it in a joking way, but that's something too, I think we as women, especially when we're new mommies, you have to be mindful of that. Husbands can sometimes feel lost in the fray. Now, I know people are going to probably take some of what they see on this show and kind of bash Nelly, because people don't really like the fact that he performed at the inauguration. So I think that's going to be something that people are going to use to scrutinize every little thing that he does. But I think women, we forget that is a real thing, that men can tend to feel neglected. Now he understands, number one, that Ashanti is a new mom, so there's a level of obsession that she has with her baby that new moms probably tend to have, and I'm sure I can tell that, to me anyway, it seems that he loves that and appreciates that of her, but I'm sure it can get lonely too for them. Now, I don't think that she's completely neglecting him. I think he says, a lot of that in jest, but also that's something that Ashanti has to be mindful of. And I liked that in the subsequent episodes, you can see that she is mindful of that, and he's talked about her being mindful of that and that balance. But it's definitely can be hard. And also the baby is very heavily reliant on Ashanti right now, just for his age. And most men really don't tend to be all the way comfortable dealing with young babies, even if it is their babies, their child, just because the baby can't support his own self all the way good, just different things like that. So I think people are going to see some of that and try to give Nelly a hard time, but I like that he was at least open enough to say what his needs would be, and that she could be mindful of that and adjust the way she needs to. And I don't think that he would be unreasonable about it, knowing she has to take care of the baby and then wants to be taken care of right then and there. That would be crazy. But I like that was brought up, because that's real life. Like, that's not just a celebrity couple thing. Everybody kind of goes through that. These people are hilarious. I love that they laugh a lot, and they seem to genuinely enjoy being around each other. Now, Ashanti girl, you know you crazy. When that man said instrument, I already knew it was gonna go left in terms of the pricing. I am Nelly and Nelly is me. I don't know about no other instruments except for the ones you can play, drums, trombone, whatever. When people start giving regular things fancy names, that's how you already know they're coming in with the shenanigans, and they and it's getting ready to be ridiculous. So that mattress store scene was hilarious because ain't nobody paying that kind of money for a mattress. Now, he did say that you could buy a car for that amount. So I low key, high key now, Nelly, if you willing to buy a car for that amount, which in a lot of cases depreciates unless it's a certain type of car, you might could put a little something extra, on getting a mattress. I don't know what mattress they got. I don't think they got any mattress from that store, but that scene was just entirely hilarious. Now back to the living situation. I'm gonna be honest. I agree with Nelly. Um, I would not want to live in New York. Now, Ashanti lives in it's like from Long Island and lives and that's where their temporary place is right now. So I don't think it would be in the heart of the city, but I can understand where he's coming from. I personally would not. So I totally get him being adamant about that. And then we get to the part where I love Ashanti and her mother's relationship with each other. And her mother just seems to be very great at being mom and being manager. Like that scene in the car when they go to pick up the shoes that Ashanti had ordered, and Ashanti has gone. She's, tried on looking for a costume to wear. She's done signed this contract to commit to this Motown show. And now she's kind of like, I don't know if I want to do it. I don't know if I want to leave my baby. I don't want to expose him to other people's germs. I'm just not feeling good about it. Am I going to have enough milk for him? All of the things. And her mother, knowing that they had signed this contract, but at the same time, her daughter is talking to her about her trepidations about leaving her newborn baby, with her being a first time mom. So her mother has to walk this very fine and delicate balance of being mom and being manager in this instance, and knowing that, okay, baby, you got your rest of your career, and there's always going to be things that you're not going to want to leave your baby for, but we got to think of the bigger picture. So I felt like her mom did a great job. So the episode basically ended with Ashanti kind of being like, I don't know if I'm gonna go ahead and do this. So I'm gonna leave that there for now. I'm gonna come back and do the rest of them. I don't know how. I might just still keep it to episode by episode because I do feel like each episode kind of deserves its own shine, but we'll see. All right, y'all, until next time. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe.